distinguished guests, Year 12s, and extremely excited Year 8s to 11s who have come to celebrate this day. My name is Josephine Mathias, and I am honored to have been chosen to give the valedictory speech for this year. As we ponder the excitement of the day, we recognize that there are different kinds of joy for different segments of the population. Year 12s, we feel a great sense of relief that there will be no more assignments, no more school bells declaring that lunch is finished, and for some, no more rigid Modbury High School uniforms that have to conform to the no logos on socks rule, or no earrings wider than 2 millimeters rule. For our teachers, there may be no greater sense of enjoyment than knowing there will be no more chasing after assignments. Our parents take deep breaths knowing that they won't be pushing their way through traffic on Pompuda Road or Australia Avenue, frustrated because the streets are nowhere near wide enough, and excited that they no longer have to drag their Year 12 out of bed each morning to joyfully prepare for school. That being said, we are incredibly thankful to each and every one of you, parents, caregivers, teachers, and you, Year 8 to 11 students who are here to celebrate the fact that we won't be here tomorrow. Your support over the last 13 years have brought us to a place where we recognize that we have been prepared to stand on our own 2 feet, make our own positive decisions, and move out into the big wide world. Our educational experiences have profoundly influenced who we have become, so today I'd like to take a few moments to reflect on those experiences and put them in some kind of perspective as we move forward. We have had many amazing opportunities throughout this year and the previous years, but one of the most exciting was the beginning of the construction for the new STEM building. While I'm sure the whole school will benefit from the fantastic new facilities, it was slightly frustrating having to circumnavigate the entire school to reach the music, art, and tech studies buildings. With the added bonus of the stairs to the flexis being closed, many a time, Year 12s were stranded on the veranda of the flexis in the mornings, waiting for someone to open the door for us. The parents may not know this, but every Year 12 here is not only receiving a graduation certificate today, we are also receiving certificates for lip reading. Here's an example of how we have engaged these abilities. During most classes in the flexis, the drilling in the new STEM building overtook the lesson, forcing some teachers to pause mid-sentence. Others, however, would continue to talk, expecting us to be able to lip read that endosymbiosis is the theory of the origin of eukaryotic cells from prokaryotic organisms. The changes in the physical space of this school are somewhat symbolic of life for our graduating Year 12 cohort. Year 8 was the foundation, the pouring of the concrete. Fences were constructed, providing a safe place for knowledge to be acquired. Assessments were given to allow us the ultimate joy of learning about deadlines, how to work, and how to respond to critique. I know I loved the foundation of assessments, didn't we all? We were separated into home groups, different rooms where we met many new, strange, and wonderful people. We learned to cooperate, coordinate, and practice many different skills of collaboration to move us into the 21st century. The foundation was prepared. In Year 9, the structures began to arise. Posts were driven into the foundation. Not Instagram posts, but genuine change was occurring. We no longer had home group class members alongside us every minute of the day. We had to make new friends, step outside the fences built in Year 8, and develop our own identities in the construction zone. We needed hard hats. Our skins had to become thicker because of the different kinds of interactions with classmates and teachers. After all, not everyone got along 100% of the time. It was more like 93% of the time. Even though our classes were different and more difficult, they provided walls and the basic structure for Year 10. The thrill of being able to choose our own classes in Year 10 overtook us, and in some ways we were beginning to be treated like adults. Each conversation we shared with peers, teachers, and parents added a nail to support our choices, or pried a nail out, which was somewhat painful but helpful in the larger picture. The bricks for our future were laid, and with our favorite compulsory subject, PLP, we finally began to consider the larger picture, or the blueprint, for our future lives. We thought we had completed all the big changes, but as all builders and architects know, there's always a storm that arrives just as the roof is about to be completed. Year 11 could be classed in that way. A perfect storm, a Category 5 of homework and home life. A hailstorm of class assignments, a torrential downpour of summative tests, and lightning strikes of exams threaten to overwhelm us. In the midst of this deluge, our cohort responded in different ways. Some carefully collected sandbags of study, preparing several days in advance, and completing assessments well before the due date. I'm sure this was most of us. Others put buckets out, catching the information like rain leaking through the unfinished roof, pulling all-nighters to finish their prep reports. Some chose to stand and smile at the storm, knowing that it would pass behind them, hoping that their construction would still be standing as the storm abated. But this perfect storm was just the gentle breeze bringing the maelstrom of Year 12 behind it. Every so often, as we were putting the roof on the house, the eye of the storm would hover over us, and we could enjoy things like the athletics carnival, the music trip to Mount Gambier, and the trip to Canberra, which truly made our high school building experience very rewarding. Then the drilling that shook the structure, SACE, ATAR, SATAC, TAFE, UMAT, RP, and every other possible acronym, which caused fear and dread to manifest in every UModry Year 12 student. Do you remember the constant reminders that passing math and English was compulsory, reiterated time and time again? We knew this information was crucial for our development, but like anyone who has lived near a construction site, the drilling was kind of annoying. Some of our talented peers left to begin apprenticeships and TAFE courses. Their buildings were beginning to take shape, while the rest of the cohort handed in the last assessments for Year 11. And lastly, this year, Year 12, the final touches to our school lives. Our decorations were beginning to take shape. As we've spent years together, we recognize the changes that have taken place both inside and outside. The painting for the building, our beloved research projects, gave us opportunities to seek new areas of knowledge, without Wikipedia. When those projects were handed in, I think the teachers were even more ecstatic than their students. The time flew, kind of, and now we're walking through our nearly completed buildings, marveling at the memories we have accumulated over the years. We recognize that although accidents have happened, like the horrific time when the microwave stopped working, or the water filter broke, and flooded our lives with new ways to persevere through lunch, I believe everyone here can be proud of the things that they have accomplished in their 5 years of high school. Now we move on. This building is finished, and as beautiful as it might be, we realize that there are new projects to work on. Despite finishing our school construction phase, we are about to embark on the next engineering project of our lives. I know that there have been people who have detested school, and others who have found it the most stressful time of their lives. But let's be honest, the greatest part of school was learning how to interact with others. I hope that I can speak for everyone when I say that I am thankful for Modbury High School, for the excellent education, the bricks and mortar, the dedicated teachers from Year 8 to Year 12, the tradies, our proud and amazing caregivers, the contractors, and the talented year levels coming after us, the apprentices. All of these which have shaped our construction and given us the stability to move into the future. I'm so excited to see the kinds of things that people in this class will build. Whether self-sustaining energy skyscrapers, who knows, the next Tony Stark might be in our midst. Others might travel the world and build a life on a different kind of adventure. Or some might build a perfectly wonderful life in a suburban house on the end of Australia Avenue, and someday send their own children to the wonderful Modbury High School. But whatever you build, be satisfied. Whoever you become, be content. Wherever you go, be happy. Thank you.